I still remember the moment the signal pierced the silence of the cosmos, sending ripples through the fabric of my mind. It was a frequency buried in the depths of the asteroid belt, an echo from a time long forgotten. My fingers hovered above the control panel as I waited for confirmation, the hum of the ship vibrating beneath my feet. Each second stretched into eternity, the anticipation hanging thick in the air like the darkness surrounding us. "Commander Lena, we've locked onto the signal," my pilot, Tom, said, his voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of excitement that mirrored my own. He glanced at me, hope flickering in his eyes. "What do we do?" I should have turned back. I should have warned them. But the whispers of the universe called to me, urging me closer to something magnificent or terrifying. Instead, I reached for the controls, the decision surging through me like static electricity. "Bring us in closer. I want to see what lies beneath." Before I go on, tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I want to know how far my story travels across the stars. As we maneuvered through the asteroid field, the control room grew colder, the light from our screens casting ghostly shadows on the walls. The vastness outside the viewport was both beautiful and ominous. I could feel the weight of countless stars watching us, their distant light mere pinpricks against the infinite backdrop of space. My heart raced, pounding a primal rhythm that echoed the ancient call of the signal. Suddenly, we broke through the last of the asteroids, revealing a hidden cavern carved into the heart of the largest rock. Darkness enveloped us, and the only illumination came from the glow of our ship's lights, casting eerie reflections on the jagged walls. It felt like stumbling upon a secret that the universe had buried away, a relic of an era before time itself. I took a deep breath, the air stale and heavy with anticipation. "Initiate scans," I ordered, trying to sound calm despite the storm brewing within me. The ship buzzed to life, and the screens filled with data, revealing the contours of the hidden chamber. But it was all just numbers and lines until we deciphered what lay at its core. There, nestled among the rock and dust, was a crystalline object, pulsating gently like a heartbeat. It radiated an ethereal light, casting shadows that danced along the walls. My breath caught in my throat. I had seen many wonders in my travels, but this was something else entirely. It felt alive, as if it were waiting for us, for me. "Commander, the readings are off the charts," Tom said, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is unlike anything we've ever encountered." I nodded, mesmerized. "We need to retrieve it." The dim glow of the crystal seemed to beckon me closer, and without thinking, I donned my suit and stepped into the airlock. The cold metal of the ship felt like a barrier against the unknown, but I pushed through it, venturing into the chamber. As I approached the relic, a warmth enveloped me, contrasting sharply with the chill of space. It was inviting, soothing, and I felt an inexplicable connection to it, as if it understood my very essence. "Be careful," Tom warned through the comms. "We don't know what it is capable of." But in that moment, I wasn't afraid. I reached out, my fingers brushing against the surface of the crystal. A surge of energy coursed through me, and I gasped, visions flooding my mind. I saw fragments of ancient civilizations, their rise and fall etched into the fabric of time. I saw battles fought among the stars, the echoes of their struggles resonating in my soul. I felt their hopes, their fears, their despair. And then it all shattered. A blinding flash erupted from the crystal, engulfing the chamber in light. I stumbled back, the force of the energy sending me sprawling against the rock. My heart raced as the world around me fractured into chaos. Alarms blared on the ship, and through the haze of brilliance, I could see Tom's frantic face on the screen, his eyes wide with terror. "Lena, we need to get out of here now." But it was too late. The relic had awakened something deep within the void, something that had lain dormant for eons. The walls trembled, and the very fabric of reality warped around us. I struggled to my feet, disoriented and desperate. It was as if the universe itself had turned against us, and I was the one who had unwittingly pulled the trigger. "Prepare for emergency takeoff," I yelled, scrambling back to the ship. The echoes of ancient wars filled my ears, mingling with the frantic beeps and warnings. I could feel the pressure building, a cosmic storm brewing, and it was all my fault. As we launched back into the emptiness of space, chaos erupted around us. The ship shuddered violently, the engines screaming against the strain. I glanced back at the cavern, where the crystal pulsed with a sinister glow, and I knew we had awakened something far beyond our understanding. Shadows danced in the corners of my vision, and the darkness beckoned, a promise of destruction. In that moment, I realized the truth. We were no longer alone in the cosmos. An empire, powerful and ancient, stirred from its slumber, reacting to the disturbance we had caused. I watched in horror as fleets of ships materialized from the void, their silhouettes sharp against the backdrop of stars. They moved with purpose, their weapons primed, and I could feel their hatred, their fear, and their desire for retribution. As we escaped the asteroid belt, the celestial scene transformed into a battlefield, a testament to the chaos we had unleashed. My heart ached as I witnessed the unfolding war, the beauty of the stars tainted by the violence that erupted in their midst. We had disturbed the balance, and now the universe was paying the price. I could only watch as the first shots were fired, bright flashes illuminating the dark expanse. I felt small, insignificant against the vastness of the cosmos. My decisions had led us here, and the weight of that realization crushed me. As I gripped the controls, I knew one thing for certain. The discovery of the relic had set into motion a chain of events that would change everything, and I was powerless to stop it. The pain of silence surrounded me as the battle raged on, a reminder of the choices we make and the consequences they carry. I had touched the unknown, and now the universe's secrets were unraveling before my eyes. The echoes of the past whispered warnings in my mind, and as I faced the destruction, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. I took a deep breath, the air stale and heavy with anticipation. "Initiate scans," I ordered, my voice barely breaking the stillness of the control room. The hum of the ship's systems became a soft background melody as Tom's fingers danced over the controls, activating the ship's sensors. Each scan felt like a pulse, a heartbeat echoing through the void. As the data streamed across the display, I felt an unsettling chill creep up my spine. The readings were off the charts, anomalies in energy signatures that defied all known physics. "What are we looking at?" I murmured, more to myself than to Tom. My heart raced, thrumming with a mix of fear and exhilaration. The cavern was alive with something I couldn't yet grasp. The ship's scanners picked up faint readings of metallic structures embedded in the cavern walls. I leaned closer to the display, squinting at the images beginning to take shape. What lay before us was not just a rock formation, it was a vast archive, ancient and powerful. The realization clawed at my mind, igniting a flicker of dread. This was no ordinary find. This was a remnant of a civilization long past, perhaps the remnants of those who had come before us. "Commander," Tom's voice, steady yet filled with awe, snapped me from my thoughts. "I think we need to get a closer look." His hands hovered over the controls, ready to guide us deeper into the cavern. I nodded, though a part of me screamed against the decision. It was not just the allure of discovery that drew me in. It was the nagging feeling that perhaps we were not meant to disturb what lay hidden for eons. We maneuvered further into the cavern, the shadows growing thicker as the lights of our ship flickered against the ancient stone. It felt like stepping into a tomb, each inch a reminder of the lives that once thrived in this darkness. My pulse quickened, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. I wished I could turn back, but something primal within me urged me to push forward. As we reached the heart of the cavern, I finally saw it, a massive, intricate structure that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Symbols and carvings, alien in nature, adorned its surface, each etching a story I could only begin to fathom. I felt an overwhelming pull, as if the relic was calling to me, an echo of ancient whispers promising knowledge and power. "Scan it," I instructed, my voice trembling with a mix of reverence and fear. Tom complied, and the ship's systems hummed to life again, sending waves of energy toward the artifact. The readings were staggering. It was as if the relic was a beacon, drawing in energy from the very fabric of the universe. I leaned closer to the screen, my breath caught in my throat. "Commander, I'm detecting fluctuations in the energy output," Tom warned, his brow furrowing. "It's building up." Before he could finish, the ship trembled violently, throwing us both against our harnesses. I gripped the console, struggling to regain control. The walls of the cavern echoed with a deep, primal roar, as if the very rock was alive, angry at our intrusion. My heart thundered in my chest, a visceral response to the chaos unfolding around us. "We need to get out of here," I shouted, fear clawing at my insides. "Toms!" flew across the controls, but the ship shuddered again, lights flickering ominously. My instincts screamed at me to retreat, to escape whatever ancient wrath we had awoken. The cavern trembled as the relic's energy surged violently, and I caught a glimpse of the symbols glowing like molten stars. The very air felt electric, charged with a power that I could neither understand nor control. I watched in horror as fissures began to crack open in the cavern walls, releasing plumes of dust and debris that swirled around us like a cosmic storm. "Commander, we have to—" Tom's voice was drowned out by the cacophony of sound and chaos. I could feel the ship being pulled toward the relic, an irresistible force drawing us closer to the source of the growing disturbance. Every instinct I had screamed for us to flee, but something deep within me hesitated. In that moment of turmoil, I glimpsed the truth. The relic was not just a remnant of a forgotten civilization. It was a warning that resonated through the fabric of time itself. I could feel its presence, a haunting echo of the past, warning us against the folly of our curiosity. "Hold on," Tom shouted, his voice breaking through the noise. With a surge of adrenaline, I gripped the controls, forcing the ship to break free from the pull of the relic. The engines roared to life, and for a brief moment, we surged forward, escaping the grasp of the chaos. But just as quickly, the cavern shifted, the walls closing in around us as if the ancient structure was trying to reclaim us. The ship rattled violently, alarms blaring in a cacophony of despair. I gritted my teeth, determination flooding my veins as I fought against the forces pulling us back. "Steady, Commander, we can do this." Tom's voice was a lifeline, grounding me amidst the chaos. I focused on the controls, steering us through the winding paths of the cavern, narrowly dodging falling rocks and energy surges erupting from the relic. With one final push, I thrust the ship forward, the engines roaring as we broke free from the cavern's mouth and soared into the vastness of space. The darkness enveloped us, the ship vibrating with the aftershocks of our escape. I leaned back, breathless, my heart pounding. We had survived, but the echoes of that moment lingered in my mind. We had awakened something ancient and powerful, and the universe would not let us forget it. The weight of what lay behind us settled in, a silent promise that our journey was far from over. As the darkness of space surrounded us, I could sense the looming threat. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars, forces were gathering, awakened by our intrusion. We had only scratched the surface of a much deeper mystery, and I feared that the worst was yet to come. I took a deep breath, the air stale and heavy with anticipation. "Initiate scans," I ordered, my voice steady, but the tremors of fear crept beneath the surface. Tom nodded, fingers dancing across the console as he engaged the ship's sensors. Each pulse of the machinery felt like a heartbeat, a connection to whatever lay hidden in the shadows. The scanner lights flickered, casting a blue glow that illuminated the cavern's walls, revealing ancient markings etched into the stone. They spiraled and twisted like the roots of a long-buried tree, forming shapes and symbols that tugged at something deep within me. It was as if the silence was speaking, whispering tales from a time when the cosmos was still young. "Commander, the scans are picking up something unusual," Tom said, his tone imbuing an urgency that made my chest tighten. I leaned closer to the screen, the swirling data coalescing into a form, a structure, or perhaps an artifact, far larger than our ship. It pulsed with a faint light, rhythmic and hypnotic. "What is it?" I asked, my heart pounding. "Unclear, but it appears to be emitting a low-frequency signal, similar to the one we detected before." His brow furrowed as he continued to analyze the readings. "There's also an energy signature that doesn't match any known technology. It's alien." I swallowed hard. The word lingered in the air, heavy with implications. I had always dreamed of encountering the unknown, but now that the moment was upon us, excitement warred with dread. I could feel the weight of the universe pressing down against my chest, an unrelenting reminder that we were mere specks against the vastness of space. "Bring us closer," I commanded, my voice barely above a whisper. Each inch we moved felt monumental, a dance with fate. Tom maneuvered the ship delicately, the engines humming softly as we drew near the enigmatic object. As we approached, it became clear that we were not looking at a simple relic. The structure was vast, shaped like an archway, adorned with carvings that glimmered as if they held a light of their own. I felt a magnetic pull, a connection that transcended time and space. It called to me, beckoning me to understand its secrets. "Prepare an EVA," I eventually said, unable to silence the urge to explore. "I want to go in." Tom hesitated, glancing at me with a mix of admiration and concern. "Are you sure that's wise, Commander? We don't know what we're dealing with." "I have to know," I replied, my resolve solidifying. "I need to understand what this is and why it's here." With a reluctant nod, Tom began the sequence to prepare the airlock. As I donned my suit, the familiar weight of the gear settled over my shoulders, grounding me even as a sense of trepidation rose within. The silence of the ship felt heavier now, filled with unspoken fears and untold stories. Moments later, the airlock hissed open, revealing the dark expanse of the cavern. I stepped into the void, the echoes of my footsteps swallowed by the silence. The aura of the structure drew me in, like a moth to a flame, and I moved closer, heart racing with every step. As I reached the archway, I extended a gloved hand towards the surface. It felt warm against my fingertips, sending a ripple of energy coursing through me. I hesitated, a sudden chill racing up my spine, but curiosity pushed me forward. I pressed my hand against the carvings, and in that moment, the world around me shifted. The structure erupted with light, bathing the cavern in a brilliance that rivaled 1,000 suns. I staggered back, shielding my eyes, as the energy surged, enveloping me in a cocoon of warmth. Images flashed through my mind, visions of distant galaxies, civilizations rising and falling, the death of stars and the birth of new worlds. I saw faces, countless faces, staring into the abyss, their expressions a tapestry of hope, despair, and longing. A voice echoed within me, ancient and wise. "You are not alone. We have waited for you." I felt tears well in my eyes, the weight of the universe pressing against my heart. The realization crashed over me. The relic was not merely a remnant of the past. It was a bridge, a connection to those who had come before. It held knowledge, wisdom that had survived eons, and I was chosen to receive it. "Commander, are you all right?" Tom's voice broke through the haze, grounding me back to reality. I blinked, the light fading as quickly as it had appeared, leaving me breathless and disoriented. I I don't know," I whispered, still feeling the echoes of the visions lingering in my mind. "It spoke to me." "What did it say?" His voice was soft, filled with concern. "It said, 'We're not alone,'" I replied, still grappling with the enormity of what I had experienced. "It's a connection, Tom, a link to civilizations that existed long before us." The silence hung thick in the air, laden with unspoken fear. I could sense something shifting, a tension beneath the surface. "But why now? Why show itself to us?" Tom asked, eyes wide. "I don't know," I admitted, the uncertainty gnawing at me. "But I feel it. Something is coming." The words sent a chill through me, sparking a realization that clashed with the wonder I had just felt. The relic, this ancient artifact, was not merely a relic of the past. It was a harbinger, a signal that something was awakening in the depths of the cosmos, something that would change everything. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship, jolting me into action. "What's happening?" I shouted, rushing back towards the airlock. "Multiple ships detected. They're approaching fast." Tom's fingers flew over the control panel, eyes wide with horror. I felt the blood drain from my face. "How many?" "Too many," he replied grimly. "We need to get out of here, now." My heart raced as I turned back toward the archway, the weight of its presence pressing down on me. I realized with growing dread that the awakening of the relic had triggered something far greater than I had anticipated. The universe was stirring, and we were at the center of it all. "Get us out," I screamed, my voice full of urgency as I reached for the controls. As the ship surged to life, I took one last glance back at the archway, my mind swirling with questions I couldn't comprehend. The relic held secrets, truths that I had only begun to scratch the surface of. But those truths would have to wait. We were on the brink of something monumental, and I needed to be ready for whatever came next. The cavern trembled around us, the shadows shifting as if whispering warnings. I could feel it, the darkness that loomed beyond our perception, a threat brewing in the silence between stars. As we navigated deeper into the cavern, the atmosphere shifted. The air thickened, carrying the weight of millennia. I could feel the ship's hull vibrate gently, resonating with the ancient energies pulsating from the structures around us. The glow of our ship's lights revealed walls etched with symbols and glyphs that seemed to shimmer as though alive. Each stroke of the unknown language whispered secrets I couldn't begin to decipher. "Look at those markings," Tom exclaimed, his voice a mixture of excitement and reverence. He pointed towards a section of the wall where intricate designs intertwined like a cosmic tapestry. I leaned closer, my heart racing, as I traced the shapes with my eyes. They told a story of a civilization, perhaps one that had achieved wonders we could only dream of. But as awe washed over me, it was quickly overshadowed by a creeping sense of foreboding. "Are we sure we should be here?" I asked, my voice low and edged with apprehension. "What if we're disturbing something sacred?" My thoughts spiraled back to the warning signs we had ignored, the instinctual pull that had urged us to turn back. Yet here we were, inches away from secrets that could unravel the fabric of our understanding of the universe. "Every discovery carries a risk," Tom replied, his enthusiasm unwavering. "This could redefine our history, Commander. We owe it to ourselves and to science to understand what this place is." I admired his passion, but the deeper we went, the more the shadows seemed to whisper, cautioning us against our intrusion. We rounded a corner, revealing an expansive chamber that opened like a cavernous heart. The walls were lined with towering obelisks, each one pulsing with an ethereal light that bathed the room in an otherworldly glow. My breath caught in my throat. These weren't mere artifacts. They felt alive, humming with the energy of the past. I could sense the weight of lost knowledge, a history bound in silence. "Commander, the readings are off the charts." Tom's voice jolted me back to reality. He was monitoring the data streaming in from our sensors, and his expression shifted from wonder to alarm. "There's a massive energy fluctuation occurring. We need to back away." But before I could respond, a tremor shook the chamber, rattling our ship. Lights flickered, and the obelisk's glow intensified as if reacting to our presence. I felt a surge of panic course through me. "Tom, what's happening?" "The energy, it's building," he shouted, eyes wide with fear. "We need to leave now." I could see the chaos unfolding on the control panel as alarms blared, drowning out the eerie melody of the cavern. "Engage engines," I ordered, my voice steady despite the turmoil within. But as Tom's fingers flew over the controls, the vibrations intensified, and the ground beneath us heaved violently. The walls of the cavern groaned, dust spilling from the ceiling like a warning. "Brace for impact," I yelled, just as the chamber erupted in a blinding flash of light. I was thrown against the console, pain shooting through my body as the world spun into chaos. The ship trembled as if caught in a celestial storm, and all at once, the lights went out. Darkness enveloped us. I gasped, disoriented, trying to regain my footing. "Tom, report." My heart raced as silence stretched, an oppressive void that suffocated sound. I forced myself to focus, ready to face whatever came next. A flicker of emergency lights illuminated the control room, revealing Tom slumped over the console, his face pale and drawn. "Commander, we're losing power," he managed to say, voice strained. The realization hit me like a meteor. "Reboot the systems," I commanded, my voice sharper than I intended. "I'm trying, but the energy spikes are overwhelming everything." Panic seeped into his tone, the fear palpable. I could feel it too, the weight of whatever power we had disturbed pressing down on us. Suddenly, the cavern groaned once more, and the obelisks illuminated the space with a fierce brightness, casting long shadows that danced across the walls. It was as if the very essence of the place was awakening, and I felt its anger, its grief. We were intruders in a world that had long since forgotten the noise of life. "Commander, we need to get out of here," Tom urged, his voice rising in urgency. "It's collapsing." I nodded, trying to summon the courage to act. "Prepare for emergency liftoff," I ordered, my mind racing. "We have to make our way back to the entrance." As Tom worked furiously to reroute power, I took a deep breath, grounding myself amidst the chaos. The ship's systems flickered back to life, but the alarms still screamed, the sound a reminder of our impending doom. The obelisks pulsed brighter with each tremor, and I could almost hear them beckoning, warning us of the consequences of our presence. "Hold on," I shouted, as I engaged the engines with a jolt. The ship lurched forward, its movement clumsy as we navigated the thrumming chaos of the chamber. The exit loomed ahead, but the ground shuddered violently, and debris rained down around us, forcing me to maneuver carefully through the falling rubble. Just as we reached the cavern's mouth, another tremor struck with unrelenting force. I gritted my teeth, feeling the ship shudder beneath me. "Go, go," I urged, the urgency in my tone a frantic plea. With one final push, we burst into the open, the stars greeting us like a long-lost friend. But the moment of relief was short-lived. Behind us, the cavern imploded, a flash of light that swallowed the ancient archive whole, as if it were reclaiming its secrets. I hovered in shock, my heart pounding in my chest, grappling with the enormity of what we had just experienced. What just happened? I whispered, more to myself than to Tom. Commander, I don't think we grasped the magnitude of our find, he replied, voice trembling. I blinked at the expanse of the cosmos before us, the stars twinkling like distant memories. No, Tom, I murmured, the weight of my words heavy with realization. We've awakened something far beyond our understanding. A silence fell between us, and in that moment, I knew we were forever altered. The echoes of an ancient civilization haunted my thoughts, and the burden of discovery pressed down on my soul. We had crossed a threshold, and the universe would never be the same again. I took a deep breath, the air stale and heavy with anticipation. Initiate scans, I ordered, my voice steady, but the tremors of fear crept beneath the surface. Tom nodded, fingers dancing across the console as he engaged the ship's sensors. Each pulse of the machinery felt like a heartbeat, a connection to whatever lay hidden in the shadows. The scanner lights flickered, casting a blue glow that illuminated the cavern's walls, revealing ancient markings etched into the stone. They spiraled and twisted like the roots of a long-buried tree, forming shapes and symbols that tugged at something deep within me. It was as if the silence was speaking, whispering tales from a time when the cosmos was still young. Commander, the scans are picking up something unusual, Tom said, his tone imbuing an urgency that made my chest tighten. I leaned closer to the screen, the swirling data coalescing into a form, a structure, or perhaps an artifact far larger than our ship. It pulsed with a faint light, rhythmic and hypnotic. What is it? I asked, my heart pounding. Unclear, but it appears to be emitting a low-frequency signal similar to the one we detected before. His brow furrowed as he continued to analyze the readings. There's also an energy signature that doesn't match any known technology. It's alien. I swallowed hard. The word lingered in the air, heavy with implications. I had always dreamed of encountering the unknown, but now that the moment was upon us, excitement warred with dread. I could feel the weight of the universe pressing down against my chest, an unrelenting reminder that we were mere specks against the vastness of space. Bring us closer, I commanded, my voice barely above a whisper. Each inch we moved felt monumental, a dance with fate. Tom maneuvered the ship delicately, the engines humming softly as we drew near the enigmatic object. As we approached, it became clear that we were not looking at a simple relic. The structure was vast, shaped like an ancient temple, its jagged edges softened by the passage of time. It glimmered with a sheen that caught the dim light, revealing more of its intricate carvings, symbols that seemed to tell a story far more profound than we could understand. Can you interpret any of this? I asked, feeling an urgency to grasp what lay before us. I'm trying, Tom replied, eyes glued to the data streaming across his screen. But it's like nothing we've ever seen. It's almost as if the information is locked away. The weight of his words settled over me like a shroud. We were standing at the threshold of history, yet the answers eluded us. It was maddening. The realization that the knowledge contained within that structure could hold the key to understanding not just our past, but the fabric of existence itself. Patch me through to the team on the ship, I instructed, feeling that familiar burst of leadership surge through me. I want everyone to gather in the command center. We need to make decisions based on what we find here. Tom complied, his fingers flying over the controls. The familiar faces of my crew appeared on the screen, their expressions a mix of confusion and curiosity. Report, I said, keeping my voice even. We're detecting massive energy fluctuations from the artifact, Commander. A young engineer named Mira spoke up, her brow furrowed. It's as if it's reacting to our presence. Is it safe? I sensed the gravity of the question, and I had to tread carefully. Unknown, Mira replied, her voice steady. But we should prepare for anything. If it's awakening, I cut her off. an unsettling thought creeping in. Let's keep our distance for now. I want to initiate a remote scanning sequence before we get too close. The crew nodded, and a collective silence took over the room as we all understood the weight of our decisions. I turned back to Tom, who was still analyzing the data. Keep an eye on those fluctuations. I want to know if they stabilize or increase. As he focused on the readings, I stared at the pulsing structure. It felt like it was breathing, as if it had a life of its own. And with each pulse, I could almost hear a whisper in the back of my mind, a gentle beckoning that promised enlightenment but felt cloaked in danger. "Commander," Tom's voice snapped me back to reality. "The energy levels are rising rapidly. We need to make a choice. Do we take the risk to get closer, or do we pull back?" A flash of images raced through my thoughts, images of civilizations lost to time, of knowledge buried beneath the sands of history. This was not just another mission. It was a chance to rewrite our understanding of the universe. But at what cost? "Let's move in closer, but with extreme caution," I decided, heart pounding. The thrill of discovery wrestled with the fear that hung heavy in the air. With calculated precision, we edged the ship closer. As we did, the pulsing light seemed to synchronize with my heartbeat, a rhythm that echoed through the hull. It was hypnotic and terrifying all at once. "Commander, we're getting significant readings now," Tom said, his voice tight with urgency. "The artifact is responding to our proximity. I don't know how much longer we can maintain this position without triggering a reaction." I felt the tension build within me, a taut string ready to snap. "Pull us back to a safe distance," I ordered, but it was too late. The pulsing intensified, radiating waves of energy that coursed through the ship like an electric shock. Suddenly, alarms blared, drowning out all other sounds. My heart raced as I gripped the console, trying to maintain control. "What's happening?" "The artifact, it's destabilizing," Tom shouted, scrambling to recalibrate the scanners. "There's a feedback loop forming. We need to get out of here, now." Panic coursed through the crew as we fought against the chaos erupting around us. The ship shuddered violently, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me, a premonition that whatever was awakening within that relic was not meant for our eyes. "Shut down the external scans, get us out of here," I commanded, my voice rising above the din. Tom's fingers flew over the controls, but the ship continued to lurch, caught in the artifact's gravitational pull. The lights flickered, casting eerie shadows across the walls. As I braced for impact, I caught a glimpse of the artifact one last time. The pulsating light transformed into a blinding beacon, illuminating the cavern like a supernova. In that moment, I understood. This was not just a relic. It was a warning, a reminder of the fragility of existence and the untold dangers that lay in wait. And then, darkness enveloped us. The ship spiraled into chaos, and I felt myself slipping into the void, surrounded by the echoes of the cosmos and the chilling realization that we had awakened something that should have remained asleep. The chamber was vast, a cathedral of forgotten dreams and half-remembered whispers. As I stood there, the pulsing light from the obelisks washed over me, revealing fleeting glimpses of ancient craftsmanship, intricate patterns that spiraled and danced across the surfaces. My heart raced, not just from awe, but from an overwhelming sense of being watched. It was as if the very walls were alive, judging our presence, weighing our intentions. "Commander, the readings are off the charts," Tom said, his voice breaking the heavy silence. He seemed entranced, but also aware of the stakes. I could see the mix of emotions playing on his face: excitement, fear, and something deeper, an understanding that we were standing on the precipice of a reality we were not prepared to face. "This place, it's like nothing we've ever encountered." I nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at me. My thoughts raced back to the countless warnings we had brushed aside. What if we were not just explorers, but intruders? The relic we had unearthed, the ancient power we had awakened, what if it was never meant to be found? As I scanned the chamber, a chill crept into my bones, and I recalled the tales of civilizations that had risen and fallen before us, each one a cautionary echo of hubris. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, vibrating through my chest, drawing my attention back to the obelisks. The glyphs carved into their surfaces began to glow with a fierce intensity, and the sound grew louder, resonating like a heartbeat. I felt the energy surge, a pulse that connected me to something greater, something beyond our understanding. My hands trembled, and I instinctively stepped back, away from the source of the energy that felt as though it could swallow me whole. "Tom, we need to be cautious," I whispered, but my warning was drowned out by the sound that now enveloped us. It was a melody, hauntingly beautiful, yet laced with an undercurrent of despair. The obelisks responded to the resonance of our presence, as if inviting us to delve deeper into their secrets. I could feel a pull, a call to uncover the truths hidden beneath their ancient surfaces. But at what cost? In that moment, the air shifted again, thickening with tension. A shadow moved across the chamber, and I turned to see a figure emerging from the darkness. It was both familiar and foreign, a silhouette adorned in shimmering robes that reflected the ambient light, and I instinctively felt the urge to bow. My mind raced. The stories, the myths of the alien archivists flooded through me. Was this one of them, a guardian of the knowledge we sought? Or was it something else, something darker? Who dares to disturb the sanctuary of the ancients? The voice echoed through the chamber, reverberating in my bones. It was neither male nor female, but a perfect blend of both, carrying the weight of centuries. I felt small before this presence, the enormity of the cosmos pressing down on me. We are explorers," I managed to say, finding my voice against the tide of fear. "We seek understanding. We mean no harm." The figure stepped closer, revealing a face that seemed to shift with the light, an ever-changing tapestry of emotions and expressions. Understanding comes with a price. Knowledge has a burden, and those who seek it must be prepared to carry its weight. The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. As the figure spoke, the obelisks flared brightly, and visions flooded my mind. Images of civilizations rising, flourishing, and ultimately collapsing under the weight of their own ambition. I saw the implications of technology used without wisdom, power wielded without responsibility. The histories transformed into warnings, and I felt the weight of their despair pressing down on me. "Why do you show me this?" I gasped, clutching my head as waves of understanding crashed over me. "What can we possibly do to change this fate? You must choose." "Each generation stands at the crossroads of destiny," the figure replied, its voice resonating with a quiet urgency. "Will you forge a new path, or will you repeat the mistakes of the past? The relic you uncovered holds the key, but it is not merely a tool. It is a mirror reflecting your very souls." I looked at Tom, who was equally captivated by the unfolding drama. We had stumbled upon something monumental. The relic was not just a remnant of a lost civilization. It was a test, a challenge. Our past actions, our decisions, each one was a thread woven into the tapestry of the universe. And now we held the potential to rewrite the narrative. The figure extended a hand, palm open, revealing a small crystal that pulsed with the same energy as the obelisks. "Take this, and you will comprehend the full scope of your choices. But know this: enlightenment without action is the greatest folly. The universe watches, and it remembers." It was a choice laid bare before me, a moment suspended in time. I could take the crystal, delve deeper into the knowledge it promised, but at the risk of losing myself to the weight of understanding. Or I could turn away, abandon the pursuit, and allow the cycle to continue. The stakes felt impossibly high. With a deep breath, I reached for the crystal, feeling its warmth seep into my skin. As I grasped it, a wave of understanding washed over me. I saw the interconnectedness of all things, the threads of fate binding us together across time and space. I understood the power of choice and the responsibility that came with it. In that moment, I felt the burdens of those who had come before me, their hopes and dreams, their failures and regrets. "We will not be lost," I declared, my voice steady now. "We will learn and we will change." The figure before me smiled, a glimmer of hope in its shifting features. "Then you shall be the architects of your own destiny. Go forth with wisdom, Commander. The universe is vast and teeming with both peril and possibility. Remember, the echoes of the past do not define you, they guide you." As the resonance faded, the chamber fell silent, leaving only the gentle pulsing of the obelisks in its wake. I turned to Tom, who met my gaze with a mixture of awe and determination. We had uncovered a truth more profound than we could have imagined, a responsibility that stretched far beyond our own lives. We stepped back into the light of our ship, the weight of the universe resting on our shoulders. The ancient relic had awakened, not just a dormant power, but a call to action. And as we charted a course back to the stars, I felt the echoes of the past reverberating within me, guiding my every thought. We were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, armed with understanding and purpose. "To the stars," I said softly, and Tom nodded, a silent agreement passing between us. We were explorers, yes, but we were also the custodians of a legacy, a chance to forge a new path in the cosmos, one filled with hope, compassion, and a newfound respect for the fragility of existence. As we soared toward the unknown, I couldn't help but feel that our journey had just begun. The universe was vast, and we were but two of its many voices. Together, we would ensure that those echoes would never fade into silence.